I'm Helen.
And I'm Liz.
And we're sisters,
Scientists.
and lifelong X-Files fans.
And this is We Want to Believe.
All right, welcome to another podcast episode. Here we
Yeah,
are.
we did it.
Yeah.
If the sound sounds a little different, it's because I am home on fall break, and so we are using a slightly different recording method.
Yeah, so hopefully it'll all be fine. Today we're talking about the list, which Helen, I was right that this is one that is like a supernatural guy coming back from the dead to kill for revenge sort of thing.
Okay.
Did not like it at all.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was, I'll tell you about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is the second ever episode that Chris Carter directed.
Oh,
Yeah.
wait.
He's
Then
a
what's he been doing otherwise?
creator and producer? I don't know.
Oh, okay. All right.
I mean, to be honest, I don't totally understand all of those different jobs, but he hasn't been the one being like action or whatever, which is what I think directors do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I am not knowledgeable in the art of
The
film.
ways of-
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, so this was it's called The List. It takes place in Florida, mostly in a prison.
Okay.
Apparently the prison set that they built was so expensive and over budget, like it was really bad, but then they ended up reusing it for several other X-Files episodes. So we shall maybe see it in the future.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah. So we open with a man on death row getting killed, and it was a long scene, and I was like, I'm just gonna go forward 10 seconds, forward 10 seconds, forward 10 seconds. I don't need to watch him walk there. It was really grim. We briefly do see him saying goodbye to his wife, and his wife is swearing she'll never be with another man. This might be relevant later in the episode. But yeah, and then as he's dying, as he's being electrocuted, he swears he'll return and seek revenge.
Okay. All right. And he does not say against who?
No, but I mean, the guards
General
seem like
revenge.
jerks. It seems fair. Yeah. Yeah, that
Okay.
is actually sort of the question of the episode, is specifically who he's going to get revenge on. So then after the opening, we have Mulder doing one of his classic slideshows, talking about
nice.
how, I guess, so the guy who died, his name is Napoleon Manley. He went by Nietzsche Manley. And so Nietzsche Manley was the getaway driver in a holdup that turned into a shootout, which, I mean, let's just be clear. I'm opposed to the death penalty.
The death
very
penalty.
clearly. Yeah.
Same.
Yeah, absolutely. And so
But
I have
also, I'm
Is
sorry. Go ahead. I was
I
going to
was
say,
gonna-
but
you go. I have a feeling we're about to say the same thing. So you
Okay,
get to say it.
that seems like a weird thing to be put on death row for.
Yes, and I don't know
Yeah,
if that
okay.
is inaccurate or not. And I honestly
Right.
didn't look into it by choice because I just couldn't bring myself to, because it was so
Sure.
grim and I just find it so appalling. And I was just like, I can't delve into all the different crimes people have been put to death for right now.
Sure. Well, and
But
I'm
it
sure there
certainly
are
does
all
seem-
sorts of different factors, and I mean, you
Yeah.
know, it's hard to say. If it gets too grim, you can look and see that. So I'm at home, like I said, on fall break, and I am in such a way that I have a poodle paw that's gently resting on my arm.
Oh, I see it.
So
Oh,
if things get
I'll
too
just-
grim, we can take
I'll
poodle
just say
break.
paw, and then you'll show me the
Yeah.
paw if necessary.
There's the paw.
Look at that! Look at that. So
Okay.
Manley swore revenge, and Mulder got interested because one of the guards just died of suffocation in an empty jail cell. So
Okay.
he's interested, and so Mulder's gonna go to Florida. They're at the prison, and I just want to say, like, other than like the guards who are in uniforms and the prisoners who are obviously in uniforms, there were just so many men in really ugly suits in this episode. I don't know. I think mid-90s men's suits, they're rough, they're baggy, the ties are wide. It's not a good look. and like the men have horrible haircuts. I mean, Mulder
Huh.
looks okay, but I mean, he's got the advantage of being David Duchovny. Um,
Yeah.
the warden is in a suit, and I was just like, I hate his suit and his hair so much. I also hate him as a person, it turns out. Um, so basically, the warden is like, Nietzsche Manley was really smart. I think he would have gotten the Nobel Prize if he hadn't been locked up.
Oh my God.
I have some questions about that. I want to be like, I could believe somebody doesn't understand how rare Nobel Prizes are. Is that
Yeah.
how I'm supposed to take it? That like the warden is kind of an idiot? Or because he wasn't a scientist or
Right.
anything, or like, yeah, so whatever, it doesn't actually matter. He was smart, he studied religions. They have held onto the corpse of this guard who dies, so Scully goes to see it, and it is like super gross,
Oh,
decaying, all gross. Lots of flies, kind of
oh.
melty flesh. I don't know.
How long ago did he die?
Within I think 24 or 48 hours or something like that. So it's definitely weird that the body is
Okay.
super gross. Um, so they talk to this other prisoner named John, and John is like, "Oh yeah, Nietzsche is back. I believe he's back." Nietzsche believed, he would have said it as transmigration of the soul. So that's the whole idea of this episode is that Nietzsche somehow come back, like reincarnated or something. I did some
Huh.
research on reincarnation for this that I'll talk about, but uh,
Ooh,
the short version is this isn't like any reincarnation anywhere ever, as far as I can tell.
it
Um,
sounds more just like a ghost so far.
yes,
Okay.
yes, yes. Um, so the guard, who's kind of walking them through the prison, he's clearly a jerk. He's like, oh, he was full of BS, as if knowing about all those religions made him some kind of god. I don't know. And then he gets called away. Scully's by herself for a moment, and this guy like grabs her from behind and kind of pulls her into the shadows and is like, I'm not going to hurt you. My name's Parmelli. I need to tell you something. There's a list. A man called Roke knows the list. There's 5 people on it that he was going to kill. That Nietzsche's coming
Huh.
back to kill. And then we see that the guy who pulled her away and said this to her is dressed like a guard. And
Ah, okay.
so then the guard, not the one who pulled Scully aside, but the one who'd been saying that Nietzsche was full of BS. The next morning, the warden opens his office, and there's the head of the guard. Or no,
Oh,
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I have that mixed up. You'll find out how the warden's office gets involved. Prisoners find the head in like a laundry area.
oh, okay. All right.
Okay. So,
Oh boy.
yeah, and so there's already like fly larvae on the head, and Scully is sort of surprised by this. And then I just thought I'd share this because I can't come up with the right word. The
Okay.
person who does an autopsy, what do you call that?
Medical examiner, pathologist,
Hmm.
coroner.
Okay, I wrote as a placeholder autopser, but
This is my friend Sarah, who is a hospitalist. We'll still talk about how you said something about her being a hospitalizer.
well, wait, well, what the hell is a hospitalist?
It's a physician who works at a hospital. So like it's not associated with the clinic and it's not associated with like a particular department, but she works in like the ICU and the ER and the people that are admitted to like med surge floors and stuff.
Oh, okay. Huh.
So she's a hospitalist. But you once referred to her as a hospitalizer. So
They sound equally plausible to me.
yeah. So so I'm sorry, I missed what
So the
an off
autopser
okay.
is like, well, I know it's weird that there's flies and fly larvae all over, but the green bottle fly can lay eggs after like 1 minute after death. That's not an explanation to my ears because why are they there so
Right.
quickly? Yeah. There's a whole like fly theme in this episode. They're
This is
clearly
reminding me,
associated with stuff that's creepy, but what's it
yeah.
reminding you of?
Another episode you did that was kind of random. I can't think of what the main theme was, but there was like green goo, maybe. No, there's a lot of the green goo
There's
features.
green goo in a
Yeah.
lot of episodes. Yeah.
Or no, like meat that had gone bad really quickly or something. Wasn't there like something that
Oh,
was rotting abnormally quickly.
Huh. That does sound familiar. It's amazing that like we've only done a little over 2 seasons and we're like in depth talking about these episodes and I still feel like I lose track
I
of them
know.
almost immediately.
Yeah.
Like, what more does a person have to do to remember what happens in
Yeah.
X-Files episodes?
Yeah. Anyway, okay. So yeah, that doesn't seem like an explanation because it's one thing for a fly to well, I am no entomologist. So maybe
Yeah.
discard
Yeah, it doesn't
everything I'm saying.
really make sense because it seems like it would imply that there'd have to be a bunch of green bottle flies around to begin with.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a student who wants to study entomology. She wants to go to
Hmm.
grad school for it. And I was like, I am more than happy to give you all sorts of advice about grad school and applications and stuff. And I was like, but like, I know nothing about entomology and I have chosen that on purpose. Like,
Yeah.
I purposefully don't want to know more about bugs.
That's kind of how I feel about the human body, just in general. So
Except
I
I
gave
am
my,
not a giant bug.
yeah, well, I do know that much. This is not Kafka. Um, but I gave my students because I have mostly bio and chem majors, and so there's this problem that I chose for them in a worksheet that's like the aorta can be sort of visualized as like a half, like it curves, I guess.
Yeah. Hmm.
And so like I had them find the acceleration of the blood through the centripetal acceleration of the blood as it curves around based on how
Oh,
fast it's moving and how big the diameter of that curve is. And I was like, this is for you guys. I think the human body is gross and upsetting, but please enjoy this problem.
oh, that sounds interesting. That is when I sometimes have to do physics, is when
Oh, yeah.
yeah, talking about fluid dynamics.
Ugh.
Sorry.
There's fluids in us right now. Everyone listening, you've got fluids in you
Yeah, like a lot of
permanently.
them.
Yeah, like I could understand like I have tea because I just drank some tea, but like not just tea. I got, anyway, let's not have me
Yeah,
pass out. That will not be
no,
good content. Um,
no.
so okay, so Mulder goes to talk to Roke, and Roke heard Nietzsche talking out loud about the list one night, and that's how he has this information. There's a lot of characters in here, and I don't blame you if you get a little confused about who. Um, and so then they're talking to the guard again, or I'm sorry, the warden again, and the warden's like, well, so Scully thinks Nietzsche had a partner on the inside who's doing all this stuff after he died.
Sure.
Reasonable. The warden
Yeah.
thinks the same thing, and the warden's like, we can't back down because then that people will just think they can kill guards. I really know what's meant by back down, honestly. But then he opens his door, and there's the body of
Ah,
the guard sitting in his office. Um, and I wrote chair with an exclamation point. Why did I do that?
was it in
Oh,
his
it's
chair?
yes, it's the end of
Oh,
a sentence. Body of other guard is in his office chair. Oops. That's what I wrote. Okay. So, um, so Mulder and Scully are looking through Nietzsche's cell. He had a lot of books about different religions. The fact that Nietzsche studied different religions goes pretty much nowhere. But Mulder
oh,
talks about, hey,
really?
even yeah, I mean, it's like I guess that's how this is happening or something. I did really enjoy this line where Scully's like, look, no, it's not him. It's either a conspiracy of prisoners or of guards. And then Mulder's like, well, just consider if it is true for a minute. Imagine you could come back and you can get revenge on 5 people who wronged you. And Scully's like, I only get 5? And I thought that was pretty good. I especially because I feel like, frankly, we've seen a lot of people that Scully should want revenge on.
Yeah.
Um, so they go and they visit. Finally, we get to leave the prison for a scene, and they go and they see a woman named Danielle, who is Mrs. Manley, Nietzsche's wife, the one that we saw in the
Ah,
very beginning. And so she, at first, I was like, I don't know the point of this scene because she just is kind of like, well, if anybody could come back, it'd be Nietzsche.
oh
Um,
God, that's so
which
weird.
yeah, yeah. And Mulder and Scully said that she seemed nervous, and I guess that's true that she seemed nervous. Um, and then we see the warden talking to Roke, and he wants to know if the warden's name is on the list, and he beats Roke to death. So
Oh,
yeah,
oh my God.
it's really upsetting. I did not like it.
Oh,
I There's the poodle. Look at
yeah.
that poodle.
I'm
Thank you.
trying
It
to
was a
make it
good
all
time for
better.
that poodle. There's a
Yeah.
poodle. Yeah. Yeah, it was
Oh, that's
very
horrible.
disturbing. So I
Yeah.
kind of am figuring that the warden will die, and he's got to be on the list. And frankly, it can't come soon enough for me.
Yeah.
Um, so this was a little bit of a surprise. Danielle, the widow, is
Yeah.
looking out the window and in her house, and a man kind of comes up behind her, and I'm like, oh my God, it's Nietzsche. But no, it's Parmelli, the guard who was warning Scully.
Ah.
And he puts his arms around her, and she's like, well, what if somebody finds out? And he's like, well, he ain't coming back. It's it's fine. Um, so she was secretly with this guard, Parmelli.
I see.
Um, yeah, and so Mulder asks the warden for the name of the man who executed Nietzsche, which is a name I
Okay.
guess only three people have. And so Mulder's like, look, if something happens to him, that'll narrow down our list of suspects to four because I'm counting Nietzsche Manley. Um, they go to see the guy who's the executioner. There's like days worth of mail at his door, and indeed, they find him in a chair. He's dead. There's flies all over him. Yada yada
Uh,
yada. Okay. Um, yeah. So Mulder goes and talks to John, who is the first one who mentioned the list, prisoner. And that prisoner is like, okay, Roke just died, but Roke wasn't on that list. Somebody real killed Roke, you know?
ah.
And so they look at some phone records for Nietzsche and see Danny Sherez, a lawyer. There's been like tons of calls to him. And it turns out he was Nietzsche's attorney way back in the day when he's like, I was young. I shouldn't have been on a death row case. Like, I didn't do a great job. Um, and so now he's trying to help John to kind of like redeem himself, I think, slash maybe he believes Nietzsche's going to kill him and or somebody's going to kill him and he's trying to protect himself. Um, and so he's talking to Mulder and Scully about this at his house, and he does mention something of relevance is that when he went to talk to Nietzsche's widow, he says, I got run out of there by her crazy boyfriend. So they're like, oh, she has a boyfriend.
Ah.
Hmm. So so then we see Shiraz alone in his apartment after they leave. And indeed, this is the first time we actually see Nietzsche appear and smother him with a pillow. So we see
Oh,
Nietzsche. So we see his face. There he is. Okay.
okay.
All right.
Did they go more in? Well, hold on. I have a few questions, I guess. The
Please, let's
first,
pause for questions.
yes. Is he ghosty? Is he
He sure looks solid to me.
okay? So
They don't make him translucent or anything.
okay, he just looks like himself, like at the
Yeah.
beginning. Okay,
Yeah.
all right. That might have been my only question then.
um so they show again Parmelia is getting home to Danielle, and she's kind of like, where have you been? The FBI is watching our house. And it shows Mulder and Scully staking out the house, and Scully's like, look, a woman gets lonely, sometimes she can't wait around for her husband to be reincarnated, like, it's okay. um so
Oh,
the oh yes,
sorry. That was
yes,
my other question. I did have
yeah.
another. Does that go any further? Like, do we ever know like the ghost slash reincarnation slash still alive? Like, do we find out what the deal is?
We'll discuss it at the end
Okay.
together.
Okay. All
um
right. Okay.
So I will say I also want to do something at the end, and that is count. Um, 'Cause I'm not sure how many people die, and I'm not sure how many were actually on the list.
Oh,
So I'm a little
okay.
confused. So the warden, so Mulder and Scully tell the warden about how Parmelli is with Nietzsche's widow, and the warden shares that Danny Sherez has been killed. And then we get sort of a Nietzsche cam point of view, like it's like looking around a dark house, first person. And then we see his wife wake up, and it switches to like normal view, and she sees it's Nietzsche, and she gets out of bed to follow him. She gets a gun first. So it's at that point, it's like, well, maybe she actually is like, she's worried about her safety because she's with Parmelli. What if he put her on the list because he somehow knew? And
Yeah.
so maybe Nietzsche wants to kill her. And so so we see her walk and she's kind of lost sight of him, and then we see the figure of a man looking out the window, and she goes, "It's you." And then uh we look, oh wait, no, it's Parmelli who's looking out the window, her partner, her
Huh.
living
Yeah.
boyfriend. And then cops are arriving to arrest Parmelli because they think that he must have done it because he was sleeping with Nietzsche's widow.
Okay. All right.
Unclear. Look, I just watched it yesterday, and I'm not sure that I don't think there was a clear answer on why specifically they were like, it must be Parmelli. Um,
Okay.
yeah, because and so in fact, more on that. But
Okay.
yeah, so she's looking at Parmelli and she's like, "It's you, isn't it? You're home. I should have known it was you." And so it's almost like she thinks Nietzsche has like possessed Parmelli or something.
Oh, okay. Huh.
Yeah, so I'm like, huh, okay. And so
That
they look,
seems almost plausible. It's just not plausible, but like, in the realm of things, like I'm on board. Okay.
comparatively speaking, right? Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I was kind
Okay.
of like, oh, he's in Parmelli. Okay, all right,
Right.
I buy that.
Right.
So Mulder and Scully are outside the house. They look through the window. They see Danielle has a gun, and then there's shots fired. And Danielle drops her gun, and she's like, "It was him. I swear, it was him." I'll tell you, it sure looks like Parmelli when he's laying there dead. Um, and
Oh,
then
so she kills him.
he kills him.
Whoa. Okay.
Mhm.
All
And
right.
then John, who is the other prisoner, the warden had like been trying to work with him to get him to like I'll get the governor to look at your case again if you give me information about Nietzsche's list or something. Nope, the warden's gonna beat John to death too.
Oh my
So
God.
yeah, and he says, but John says right before that, Nietzsche's list, there's one man left to die. So like in other words, like warden, you're gonna die.
Okay.
So when this is all over, I want to count. But anyway, that's kind of the one of the last scenes. We see Mulder and
Oh,
Scully driving out of town, right? Right?
huh. Wait,
We
so we don't know if the warden dies?
One of the last scenes. We have one last
Oh,
scene.
okay.
Very last scene. Mulder and Scully are driving out of town. They're in
Okay.
the car. Mulder just pulls over on a country road and is like, it just doesn't make sense. And I just felt like, have this conversation in a parking lot or something. You're on a country road, but also you're right. It doesn't make sense. He's like, Parmelli didn't know Nietzsche's executioner. Parmelli wasn't working during all of the murders, only one of them. He's like, I don't think Parmelli killed anybody. I don't think it was him. And Scully's like, it's over. Let's go home, which I feel like is not great. Even if you
Yeah.
don't think it's supernatural, you know.
Not great detective work. Not
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And so then they get back on the road, they start driving. Passing them the other way is the warden who's driving. He looks in his rearview mirror, who's in the back of his car? It's Nietzsche. And they start tussling, and then the warden drives into a tree and dies, and then they show the car. Nietzsche's disappeared.
And did Mulder and Scully see this happen?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, huh. Okay.
Yeah. So I wanted to count because I was
Yeah.
like, I don't know that I've got five. Okay, so we've got the original person that like we don't ever like that they see the autopsy of who died
Yeah.
before we see it. And then we've got the guard who's decapitated.
Yep.
Oh no, I think I am getting five actually. Because then we've got the executioner, Barry Simon. And then we've got
Okay.
his former lawyer, Danny Sherez. And then we've got the warden. So that is five.
Okay.
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 That seems reasonable. I don't know.
Yeah, for whatever
Yeah.
reason, I feel like, oh, good. I don't know. It's a low bar. I
Yeah.
just felt like, I mean, this is a very depressing episode. It seems it has a very, I mean, it seems pretty clear that the viewpoint of the episode is that like prisons are hell on earth sort of thing. I mean,
Yeah.
it's terrible. It's biased. It's gross. It's bad, bad, bad.
Yeah.
Nothing redeeming really happens. I mean, the warden dies,
Hmm.
which I would have been really mad if he didn't, but
Yeah. Huh.
yeah. Yeah, it was and there was like not a lot that made sense, right? There's no
No. What? Right. No, we don't know. So he's just back and corporeal and
Sometimes
sometimes.
he's like
Uh,
he's optionally corporeal
yeah.
because he's definitely
Huh.
corporeal enough to smother someone with a pillow.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Huh. Okay. And what happens to Danielle? Does she go to jail for?
Don't know.
Don't know. Okay.
Yep.
Wow.
Maybe
This
not
really,
because they think that Parmelli is the one who was killing everybody, so maybe they'll think it was self-defense.
right. Huh. This really seems like filler. Like,
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Mhm.
And like there's a few references to religions. Okay, but there's like not even any lip service to how he might have studied this and learned to do this. And what is this, you know?
Right. Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
this is not so transmigration of the soul, that's another word for reincarnation. I start
Okay.
looking into it. I mean, looking into it, it's not like I did some major research, but still, um, it's, very common in quite a few religions, Hinduism, Buddhism, right? There's aspects of like certain Jewish groups that believe it, Wicca, Indigenous peoples of America and Australia, certain groups, like it's around as an idea. Also,
Yeah.
I'll mention Scientology. So
Oh.
whatever. I mean, if we're counting that, I don't know. And so it
Listen,
like
if I've learned one thing from podcasts, it's that you never diss on Scientology in a public space.
Really? Oh,
I mean, no, it's not like anything bad has happened, but I've heard a lot of like, I don't know, there are always jokes on true crime podcasts that mention Scientology about like, you know, better not let them hear us sort of
oh,
stuff,
see,
basically.
I was thinking like, oh, that could be some really good, like, get some eyes on our podcast. We can be like, guess who hates us? Scientologists. So like,
I
hey,
feel pretty confident.
Scientologists, we think you're a scam. Come get
Yeah.
us. I don't know. No, no, now I'm scared they're gonna come get
No.
me.
See? See? Yeah.
Yeah, like they're super nietzes.
Yeah.
Oh, flies, super nietzes. Yeah,
Sure.
these had fly eyes as far as I could tell.
Ah,
Yeah.
sure.
Way too many fake maggots for my taste.
Oh, gross.
I want
Yeah.
real ones. No, I would just way too many maggots. Just ugh, ugh, ugh. I remember being a kid and we were going, I want to say the Great America. I was in the car with Katie Travis and we're in the back, I don't know, of a station wagon or something. And her older cousin Keith flicked a maggot into the back of the car that he had found, and it was like
What?
on the seat near us, and I'm still disturbed by that.
Where on earth would he have gotten a maggot?
He like just saw it in the car or something? Or
Weird.
something? I don't know. Apparently there were maggots all over my food, and that story about my office. I know I've told this story on the
Oh, yeah, you
podcast.
have. Yeah.
I forgot
Oh,
my leftovers for 3 years, and then the fridge stopped working in my office.
I always forget the timeline, though. I always forget that it was 3 years.
It was 2014 was when I got the
Oh
leftovers, and it was
my
the summer
God.
of 2017
Oh
that
my
they
God.
dealt with it.
Oh
I'm
my
not
God.
proud. I'm not proud. Yeah.
Did you know they were
No.
there? No.
No.
Okay.
No, I would have taken care of them. I would have
Okay.
known. Oh, that sounds like it would have been like they're my pets. Like I would have gotten them food and water since they finished
The
the
maggot.
Chinese. Yeah. Um, no, I had no
No.
idea. What had happened was I stopped seeing the fridge altogether. I stopped using it. It
Mm,
didn't work that well. And then it was just like, oh, that's just that white object. I can't store anything right there. And my brain just stopped seeing it
ah,
completely.
sure. You know my maggot story. I think you were
No,
present. We were
no.
at our mom's house, and I'm pretty sure you were there. And our mom and our stepdad were both there. We were eating edamame, and
Ah, no, but I heard about it.
oh, you weren't there? Okay.
No.
Yeah, and they were frozen. They had been frozen edamame. Um, but then you know how, and I was not doing this, thank God, because you know how like, I mean, I'll eat
Yes.
edamame at a restaurant where you like pop them into your mouth,
Pop them into
right?
your mouth without looking. Yeah.
Yeah. I was like opening the pod and saw maggots in it.
Ah,
And yeah, I almost died. It has been only very recently. This was, I mean, 20 years ago.
It was a long time ago. Yeah.
Yeah. And I have only recently started eating edamame again.
And when I eat edamame, I look at them because of that.
Yeah, good. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's hard though, because you want the salt from the pods, right? I'm sorry, I need to interrupt this for a poodle because
He's an upsy downsy boy.
he is, yes. He's laying on his back, being very cute and
Oh
pathetic
my
with
God.
his little teepees showing as well.
Oh, his little toothies. He's so
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. So if you occasionally hear weird noises on this recording, he's been a little snorty in his sleep. So, he's a good one.
Oh, what a good boy.
He's not a maggot.
No, he's the
No.
opposite.
Yes. He's a fully formed fly. Did you have
Yes.
more to say about
I did a little more research in that. Like, I found there was a study that looked in like 1999 to '02. They looked at like what percent of Americans believe in reincarnation. Do you want to guess?
interesting. Ooh, I do. I'm gonna go with 60%.
Did you say 60?
Yeah, no? Am I way off base?
No.
No?
Yes.
I don't know.
It's 20%. I thought that was
20%.
high.
Okay. Well,
Because
only 40% of Americans believe in evolution. So
all
I
right,
don't
so
know.
what I'm about to say is maybe related. I'm gonna feel weird about it. Um, I don't mean to offend anyone. Well, maybe I do. I don't know. But
Scientologist.
what I was sure. No, but I was going to say there's a lot of conservative Christians in America who would say, no, of course I don't believe in reincarnation.
Oh, sure.
So
Yeah,
all
that
of
makes
them are
sense.
out, but maybe they're not out in
Yeah.
their numbers. So,
Yeah. Now maybe this is way off base. I was under the impression that some Protestants believed in reincarnation.
I've never heard that, and I did
You've
not
never.
see it anywhere. No.
Okay. All
It
right.
strikes me as
I don't
something
know.
where like we were raised Catholic, so you're like Protestants. I don't know. I've heard some of them can like do magic. I don't know. Like
Yeah.
yeah, I've never heard that, and I didn't
Okay.
encounter it anywhere.
Okay.
I
All
would
right.
say
I
that
don't.
the main thing I got that is on the whole, Christianity and Islam does not have a belief in
Ah,
reincarnation. I mean,
okay.
other than the one obvious case.
Right.
So,
Sure.
yeah, yeah. I mean, and honestly, that's the thing that this most seems like, right? It's not like
Yeah.
reincarnation in the sense that we typically think of it, where you come back as a baby, as somebody
Yeah.
else. This is more like Jesus or whatever, like,
Yeah. Right.
except
Coming
very
back from the
different.
dead.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, he's executed. Maybe I'm onto something.
Ah, huh.
He's like revenge Jesus. He's like
I can see that as
Jesus,
like
but
a
with
horror movie
a
poster.
very yeah.
He's back and
Yeah,
I don't know. I can't
yeah,
come up with the
yeah. I feel like
tagline.
there's a really good tagline out there, but I don't know what it would be. Yeah.
Yeah.
If anyone can think of a good tagline for a movie where this time Jesus comes back from the dead and kills a bunch of people, in revenge, please let us know.
That is what this seems like, though. That
Yeah,
seems
that is
more plausible, again, for lack of a better
yeah.
term.
Yeah, it
Hey,
seems like more the model they were using for this sort of thing.
right.
Like, as if you could read enough about Christianity that you could be like, oh my God, I figured out how Jesus did it. Now I can do it.
Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
had to study enough. And I.
Wouldn't that be the I don't know, plot twist?
It would be,
To,
yeah, it would be a twist. Yeah. And then
yeah.
the only other thing I wanted to note is that I read a little about past life regression and how the APA, the American
Yeah.
Psychological Association, is it
Yeah.
psychological? It's some form of that word.
Yeah, it
Anyway,
is. And I'll tell you why, because I always use APA citations.
so do I, but I
Oh,
can't, that doesn't mean I need to know what it stands for. But yeah,
oh,
we
yeah,
use
it is though.
APA. It's weird. I'm in this mixed household. Adam uses
Wait,
Chicago.
oh, he does? Wait, so
Yeah.
what do most physicists use?
Oh, we all use APA.
Okay. All
Oh
right.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Believe me,
Yeah.
I'm not doing anything exciting here. I'm doing what I was taught citation wise.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I
Adam
guess I
uses
should say
Chicago.
Adam uses Chicago. Yeah.
Huh.
Oh
Huh.
my God. I wonder if, because there's like, people talk about Chicago style hot dogs or whatever, and then there's a derby team called Chicago style roller derby, and I wonder if he pictures them like, if he ever thinks about them in terms of citations on papers, like, oh, Chicago style roller derby, where you cite things different. I don't know. I don't
Yeah,
know. That
I don't
can
know
really
how
go
you do it.
anywhere. Yeah. I
Yeah,
don't
I don't
either.
know how to.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I know. I
I don't
find it
ever use
weird.
it.
And then the other relevant thing, tell me if your people do this. At their conferences, they read papers.
Yeah, we do that.
That's insane. Like, why would you do that to
Well,
yourselves?
so I'll so I'll tell you what we do. I don't know.
Okay.
Uh, so we will read papers, or
And I should
like,
ask to be clear, are we talking anthropologists or biologists? Because I think of you as
um,
both. I don't really know what you are, to be honest.
I'm a biological anthropologist, so
That's where you get
I'm
me. Yeah.
yeah. No, I would say at either. Though I've been to more archaeological and anthropological conferences of late. But no, so people will give a paper by like you read it, but then you also have slides that you usually present along with it. And whenever I will do like a paper instead of a poster, I also alter the paper dramatically so that it reads better. So like
Okay.
I'm reading a paper, but it's not like it's not the same sort of paper that I would publish, if that makes sense.
Okay. It
Like it's
does.
the
It
same
does.
info, but it's altered.
Okay. And I guess I don't know for sure what historians are doing, but I do know they're reading. They're not talking. And I just feel like when you give a student presentation advice, oh, he wants to contribute. What citation style do you use, Poodle?
Oh,
Oh,
he
he's the
uses
cutest dog
APA.
that's ever existed in the history of dogs. And I say that as someone who's had many dogs. I can't lie. It's him.
Yeah,
He
I
looks like
mean,
an incredibly expensive stuffed animal.
well, he's incredibly expensive. You got that part right.
Yeah.
Between the priceless books he's eaten and the surgery to remove the sock in his intestines, I mean,
God. Oh, Gatsby. But
he's a fancy
yeah,
guy.
I mean, like when you give advice about giving presentations, don't
Right.
you say, don't just read from your notes, talk to the audience. And then, like,
Yeah.
there's whole fields where what you do is read. I find it very odd.
So I feel like I do both because when I'm going to be giving a paper, I'm reading, but I'm also doing it in such a way that I'm like have some of it memorized and I'm looking at the
Hmm.
audience and like
Okay.
knowing when to flip my slide. So I'm not just like standing there reading.
Okay. All right. So that's
Because that
good.
is boring. So I
I
don't
do
know. I
need
don't know
I need more
what
information about
historians are doing.
historians. I'm gonna have
Yeah,
to talk to him more about this because I
yeah.
mean, it's not like I've witnessed it. So
Oh, okay. Okay.
I've just heard about it and been like, what? They also don't really do
Yeah.
posters, I think, but I guess they have like less
Huh.
data, I think, because they don't like what are they graphing? I don't think they're
Yeah.
graphing much. I don't know for
Yeah,
sure. I
probably
got
not.
to imagine there aren't a lot of graphs. Um, anyway, the
Yeah.
APA,
Yeah.
they make a point to say that past life regression is unethical. It is, you are implanting false memories, which is delusions under the guise of therapy. It's hard to undo, and it fails the first do no harm uh,
Oh,
mandate.
wow.
So yeah, they are like take a hard line against past life regression.
Huh.
So I
Oh,
wanted to
that's
share that.
interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's interesting. That's interesting.
it is.
I first of all, I don't know if anyone can hear the weird whining that occasionally happens.
I
Okay, you
can't,
can.
unfortunately.
Okay. When the poodle yawns, he sometimes makes a weird
Oh,
sort of noise.
oh, oh.
Um, but yeah, no, that's very interesting. I did not realize that they took such a hard line against like I thought it was more of how like my doctor would treat acupuncture, like it's not
Hmm.
like officially
Ooh,
recommended, but
apparently not.
they okay.
And
you
see,
know,
I
but
thought it was more like how they don't bother to denounce psychics. Like, I thought it was
ah,
going the other way. Like, they're not going to bother to be like, you know, oh, I don't know, palm reading. Also,
right,
not a good way to make decisions about your life or whatever. So,
right, right. Yeah. Which reminds me of a story my therapist once told me about, interestingly enough, going, you know how they like have I told this story already?
I
Because
don't think
so
so.
they have like entertainment sometimes at conferences, right? Which is how you once had
Oh,
a bad
yep.
experience with
Mm-hmm.
with a magician.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Well, apparently, there was a psychology conference that had like a psychic as part of their entertainment.
That seems wildly misguided.
Yeah, yeah, but yeah, I don't know.
This is a really inane thing to relate it to, but I always remember this story somebody told of being at this big like techno music festival and how there was like in a convention center or something, there was like music playing on a loop and they kept playing the one Eminem song where he says, "It's over, nobody listens to techno." Like that kept being played and they kept being like, "Why are they playing this song here? This is like the last place you should be playing that." And it reminds me of that, except, far more misguided. So,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Uh, so interesting.
Yeah. But yeah, as far as I can tell, all of the religions that really focus on reincarnation, they're talking about it in terms of like how your soul advances and like, this sort of cycle of like improvement and whatever.
Right.
But it's clear it's like it's from birth. It's reincarnation. It's not pop up over here, surprise, mother, disappear, pop over here. Maybe I'm in this person, maybe I'm not. Like it was a weak episode. And I think about how these
Yeah.
episodes that don't fall into the overall conspiracy are called Monster of the Week episodes. But like, I mean, I guess the warden was a monster, but like, I feel like maybe this would be more interesting. Like, I feel like there should be another name for the episodes that aren't like the Fluke Man or the
Yeah.
sideshow
Right.
one, like, ones where it's like, there's just some depressing shit that's kind of weird.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
That doesn't seem particularly interesting.
It wasn't. It was grim, and I was just
Yeah.
like, we're just gonna get through this. So
Oh
yeah.
man. Well, I'm sorry.
It's okay. You gotta
I've
watch
got,
Too Shy next. So you got the
yeah.
fat vampire.
Yes, I do. Yeah. I'm
Yeah.
extremely curious as to how that's gonna go. Never
And then
seen it.
after that, I've got one that sounds like, I don't know, the list again.
Oh
It's
no.
got, it's at a military hospital instead of a prison. Obviously, that is a different place, but it's still an institution of some sort.
Yeah.
And it has a guy who's an amputee who seems to be astrally projecting and murdering people for revenge.
Oh,
So,
no kidding.
yeah.
And I remember feeling like, oh, season 3 is where it starts to get good, but
Right?
clearly I'm not thinking of the right parts of season 3, I guess.
I'm having the same thought. Yeah, I know.
Huh.
And I mean, then after that, I mean, we've got Nissan 731 coming up. We've
Okay.
got Syzygy, we've got War of the Coprophages, we've got Jose
Oh, is
Chung's
that
from Outer
season 3?
Space, we've got Quagmire, like,
Oh, okay.
yeah, there
Okay.
are a bunch of good ones coming, but not
Okay.
too soon.
Okay.
So, yeah.
All right. Well, follow us on Instagram. Unless was there more?
No, that's all I
No.
got.
Okay. All right. Cool. Then
Yeah,
yeah, follow us on
Instagram. We
Instagram.
want
Send
to
us
believe pod on Instagram. Email us at
and
we
us
want to
email.
believe pod at gmail.com. Tell us any unusual X-Files related stories from your own life. If you've got a tagline for our Jesus is Back and He Wants Revenge movie, let us know. Um,
Yeah. Or a good title and the tagline is Jesus is back and he wants revenge.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. If there's yeah,
Maybe
if you've
that's
got
the
a good
tagline.
title, let us know.
If you
Yeah.
think you have a cuter dog than Gatsby, I would love to look at it.
Yeah, we'd love to look at it. Well, you're wrong, but we'd still love to see like maybe the second cutest dog. So
If you think you have a better behaved dog than Gatsby, you're
you
right.
probably do. Yeah.
All right. See ya. Bye.
Bye.